and it's wonderful to see you, Dr. Thumdraha. I see my brother Abebe is here from Africa CDC, from the Platform for Harmonized Africa Manufacturing, and my for the past couple of years on the very topic that we are discussing, and this year we managed to secure from the Bureau of the Heads of State and Government to expand the mandate and include diagnostics and therapeutics. This was as a result of very, very hard work that was done by we've got one of the members of the PPPR Commission, Professor Slim, who currently knows about this work together with South Africa, all the countries that we've been working together with, our stakeholders regionally and globally. I'll talk a little bit more about some of this work that, of course, is led by our dear President, Cyril Ramaphosa. Welcome to the Africa CDC Congress. It's wonderful to have you here representing the Director General. We've also got Professor George Painter and all the Emory colleagues of CIVO sitting here. Welcome, and thank you so much for traveling all this way to join us in our activism for regionalized manufacturing. We've got Senior Executive from Aspen, Dr. Stavros Nicola, also a dear brother, friend, uncle, counselor. He was just counseling me now, just outside. All the partners, the sponsors, the main sponsor, and senior officials, stakeholders, friends in biotech, welcome to this Ministerial and Honors and Lunch of the Bio-Africa Convention 2024. It's so wonderful to see so many friends, colleagues, partners that we have been working together with, who've been supporting us, who've been supporting them. And this journey of biotech sovereignty for the region and for South Africa is really, really gaining momentum. The world is taking us seriously as well. So it is really, really wonderful to see us all gathered here together to keep it all going. Now, as I alluded to before, I haven't introduced myself properly. My name is Dr. Nzimande. I'm Head of Secretariat of the African Union PPPR Commission, that is the Pandemic Prevention, Preparedness and Response Commission, and that commission supports President Ramaphosa in his role as the AU champion on COVID-19. And we don't have a lot of time. I would have loved to have just given you a background on all the incredible work that the President has led on the continent since 2020 to really build out our manufacturing capacity. And I just want to say that the other day we were with the Honourable Minister, and some of you may know that I'm the lead of Pillar 10, but in fact the Minister and the Department of Science and Innovation was joined for the first time to the compact because of the pandemic preparedness and response pillar that was added to the Presidential Health Compact. And we're so, so grateful, Minister, that you have joined the Department of Science and Innovation to this very, very important initiative. This initiative, which began in 2019, is a process that brings together all stakeholders so that we can fix the health system ahead of the implementation of NHI. And pandemic preparedness is an extremely critical pillar. And in fact, the Minister was signing for Pillar 10. So he's really bolstered the support for this very, very important pillar. And of course, one of the key aspects of pandemic preparedness is the issue of medical countermeasures. And in line with the theme here, the main reason for this lunch is that the work of the vaccine innovation and manufacturing strategy is going to be officially handed over to the Minister. Very, very critical intervention in pandemic preparedness and a response. So without much further ado, we're going to get the program going. We are running a little bit late. So you're going to forgive me in that I'm going to be really pushing through the program. I'm also going to ask that the speakers limit their time, and we may actually need to allow for some of the meals to be served while the program is going on. So you'll just give me some flexibility there as the MC, and I thank you for your understanding in advance. And so I would like to actually ask that the starters be served, and you can do so immediately. And I'll ask that you do it quickly and quietly because I'm going to move along in the program. And I don't think that the counselor is here yet. She is supposed to actually welcome everybody after the starters. She's not here yet. She is here. Or, but what I can maybe do is ask if there is a representative, yes, if that representative can just come up and do the welcome by the city of eThekwini on behalf of the Honourable Councillor. So may we do that, please? Thank you very much. And please start serving the starters. We will carry on with the program. I'll only pause for the mains. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Good day, my name is Russell Curtis on behalf of eThekwini Municipality. A warm welcome to the Minister and his team. Thank you, sir. Various other dignitaries in the room. I'm sure we have other government leaders from other countries. It's wonderful for us to host you in the city of Durban. My name is Russell Curtis. Ngifunde isiZulu kancane. So for those of you who speak Zulu, it means I'm trying to learn very slowly. Please forgive me. Welcome to eThekwini. Ngisebenza kumasipala weTheku kwa Invest Durban unit. Sincere apologies on behalf of our mayor and deputy mayor. We are expecting one of them to arrive shortly, but we don't want to hold up the program. And so it's our greatest pleasure to have you in our International Convention Center, which you'll see hit the press shortly. It's been rated as Africa's best convention center again for about the 18th or 19th time. So we're pleased to host you in our city and our convention center today. And bless the food, enjoy your lunch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. And congratulations to the city of eThekwini for having the CTICC voted again the best conference center. We would love, just an appeal from my side as somebody who's coming from the presidency, we would love to host a heads of state meeting of some kind here in Durban. So I'm just appealing that we get Durban to a state of readiness to be able to do so. I see Durban is looking incredibly clean. So there's some incredible work that's happening, and it would be lovely to actually, and congratulations for that as well. It would be lovely to actually be able to get it back to a space where it can actually host at the level of the heads of state. So let's carry on, colleagues. And there are some messages of support that will be coming from some of our partners. I'm going to first ask Dr. Stavros Nicolaou to join me on stage to deliver a message of support from the private sector. Let's give him a round of applause.
Program Director, and let me observe all the protocols, Minister, in the interest of time. I'm going to acknowledge all the dignitaries, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and friends. I realize that I stand between you and the main course, so I'm going to keep this rather brief and concise. The conference that we are going to be participating and have been for the last few days remains a seminal calendar event in our country and for the continent. It is even more so seminal these days, given our experiences with pandemic outbreaks and the rather concerning trajectory that Mpox is taking at present. And if there was ever a time to embrace what BioAfrica stands for, which is the establishment of biological and biochem sovereignty and independence for Africa in our lifetime, if ever there was the need to reinforce both the mandate of BioAfrica, but also to reinforce the importance of sovereignty and independence, this is the time when we see yet again the ominous signs that are emerging out of mpox. I say this heavy-hearted as well because 4 years ago, and many of you who were involved, I see Professor Slim Karim, I bumped into him earlier, and many others. Minister, I remember, Minister, you said you got a call from the President, I think it could have been on New Year's Day, okay, or the 2nd of January, I forget when you said exactly, and it could have been at midnight. And this was when we were struggling to see how we were going to manage the COVID pandemic. And we all said then as Africans, never again shall we be caught with our pants down. And never again shall we not have this independence and this sovereignty. And guess what? 4 years down the track, mpox manifests. And unfortunately, many of the plans that we've had have not been implemented yet. And that is why it is critical that we have these type of conferences, that we partner yourselves as a private sector, government, NGOs, labor, the scientific community and others, critical that we partner to ensure that unnecessary lives and livelihoods are never lost again. And it starts today with mpox. So with those few words that I think sound, I guess, an alarm of both disappointment on the one hand, but an alarm of what prospectively is possible if we establish these capacities and capabilities. Let me wish you well. Let me thank the organizers, ably led by Dr. Semete, who I think has been moonlighting, on the one hand as CEO of SAPRA, and on the other hand as the conference convener and chair. I'm not sure which one she did at midnight and which one during the day. Probably she did both for 24 hours a day. But let me thank you for putting this together. It's a very important gathering, a very important institution. And let us continue working towards biochemical, biological sovereignty and independence in our lifetime in Africa. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Dr. Nicolau. And I'm really glad that you touched on the issue of mpox, which we're currently dealing with right now. And the fact that, the sad fact that as we sit here, we still are not in a position to manufacture our own countermeasures to respond to this growing crisis. Just the other day, I read that I think it was Taiwan that reported its first case. So we do have a public health emergency of continental security as well as of international concern. But as Africa, despite all the wonderful work that has been done, we are still not in a position to roll out our own medical countermeasures. And this is why the DRIVE initiative, which is a partnership, or at least it is the partnership between UKZN and Emory, adopting a model that Emory had developed, which is DRIVE, to take us forward into an era where we expand our preclinical work is so incredibly critical and it's urgent. And I would just like to firstly congratulate Emory and UKZN for this innovation and for ensuring that you're able to lock this strategy into the continent, and appeal to you that as you work on this, that the work gets done with urgency and speed, and that also that the work is expanded across the continent so that the continent has got the preclinical abilities. I know this is very much an important issue for you, Abebe, and for Africa CDC. It's very, very critical as part of the 8 bold programs of the Platform for Harmonized African Manufacturing. So with that, I invite Professor George Painter to come and say a few words. Thank you so much. Round of applause, please.
Mr. Minister, dignitaries, it's a pleasure to be here. I've actually been working on this continent for almost 30 years. So around 15 years ago, we began an initiative to deal with biodefense and emerging infectious disease. And of course, pandemic preparedness was at the core of that. And most of us, the first pandemic we worked with was HIV. The threat of pandemics has grown. I like the minister's analogy to the swimming pool. We live in a very interconnected world. And if you can't appeal to the rest of the world's better angels of our nature on a moral level, it certainly serves enlightened self-interest to be concerned about what happens in Africa, what happens in Asia, because we're all interconnected. So we're very committed to setting up this interaction with you, KZN, to have a program that develops therapeutic agents for rapid self-administered use in cases like Mpox. And of course, right behind Mpox is probably high-path influenza as another threat to humanity. So we're committed to working together. We look forward to implementing this. It is, of course, expandable to all other interested parties. And so I look forward to working with you guys, and I look forward to being here next year. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And since Russell has already welcomed us to eThekwini, city of eThekwini, eGagasini, I have been informed that unfortunately the councillor, with apologies, is unable to make it. So I think what we can do is I can give a few minutes to change over from starters to lunch. I will give that until 13:40. And then we will begin the program again. So that'll be only 8 minutes. So if I can just request the waiters to please move quite quickly, and I will start again at 13:40 precisely. Thank you. So we now get to an exciting part of the program where an award is going to be given to the Honorary Dr. Film Jwaga. So I'm going to ask Dr. Tumi, that's how we all dearly know her and call her, to come up on stage and tell us all about this award, and then she will call the honoree up on stage as well. Thank you so much, and a big round of applause for this incredible lady.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for that warm welcome, Dr. Lwazi, and it's a great pleasure to have you here. We were saying we can't have this convention without you, so thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. Colleagues, you heard us in the morning mention friends, family, partners, and now Lwazi added uncles and all of that. We cannot at all host the Bio Convention without support from the Department of Science and Innovation. And not only just the department, but specific individuals within the department. And today we would like to honor, again, I would say the father of the Bio Convention. I remember back in the days, I was still at the Innovation Hub with Dr. Nzimande, and we were at the Bio Convention in the US, and conversations were going on about having a Bio Africa Convention. And the former DG, Dr. Film Jwaga, was at the heart of those conversations. When we had our first Bio Convention, he was with us, and he remains to be with us, even now as he's the former DG. And as Bio Africa, supported by our president, our dear president, Dr. Nhlanhla Msomi, who is the president of Africa Bio, we would like to honor the former DG, Dr. Film Jwaga. We honor him in his capacity as the DG, in his capacity as the former DG at the Department of Science and Innovation. We honor him for his outstanding strides and contribution to the acceleration of science, technology, and innovation in South Africa. His leadership in the sector has been instrumental in shaping a number of initiatives. Some of us will remember the National Biotechnology Strategy, and now we have the Decadal Plan, which he was at the heart of conceptualizing. With these various strategies that, together with his team at the Department of Science and Innovation led, these are initiatives that enabled us in the innovation space to be able to do what we do today. The bio-innovations that you will see as we have the exhibition later on have taken center stage. And it's because we've had leadership such as that from the former DG, Dr. Film Jwaga. As you heard earlier, when we were talking about the VIM strategy, which you now all know about, you can see the clear direction that it provides for us, not only as a country, but as a continent. Again, that's another piece of work that he was at the core of conceptualizing, and not only conceptualize, but also support. And so we would like to thank him again for that. As you have noted, the VIM strategy is envisioned to be crucial for South Africa to have vaccine manufacturing capacity that can be accessed timelessly in response or for strategic agreements to access global vaccine manufacturing. I think it's a strategy that's very clear, and like any strategy, there's some areas where we have to forgo, but there's some areas where prioritization has been communicated to us. And we would really like to commend the team for a very clear strategy that starts to guide us as a country and as a continent in terms of what the focus areas will be. Dr. Jwaga has been a strategic partner of the Bio Convention since its inception in 2018. He has helped us promote the advancement of biotechnology innovation through fostering partnerships between the private sector as well as government entities. Additionally, as BioAfrica, we recognize his stewardship to fostering female leadership in the area of science, technology, and innovation. And Dr. Jwaga, I saw him earlier and I said, "Good morning, DG." And I said to him, we'll always call you DG because you've been the DG. And he is a dear DG for us here at the Bio Convention. So with that, we would like to honor you. Please do come to the front.
Thank you so much. I thought DG was going to say a quick thank you. You don't just take a gift.
No, thanks very much, Program Director. People always say, TG, somebody has done something. There's nothing you do in leadership all by yourself. So I first like to say all what I've done is because of the support that one had in the ministry, in the department. And I'm eternally grateful to all ministers. I've said this before, including Minister Nzimande and all the other ministers. And for those of you who actually know how difficult it is for a DG to stay for 18 years, it's not a light statement. And then the second group of people that I'd like to thank is the scientists, whether from the private sector or from government entities, because to tell you the truth, they've been very, very good at lobbying us, and we always agreed and allowed ourselves to be lobbied as the department. But they actually do the work. We as the department and the ministry try and listen to them and disagree with them. And if we agree with them, then we go and lobby for funding. So I'd like to thank all the scientists and all the partners that have come to us to say, here is a great idea. Can you please take it forward? The third point that I'd like to make, and we've just had the conversation with George Painter, is the support of the international partners in this journey. And all of them, they're around the table, so I don't have to mention them by name. We really do appreciate the support that you've given us in this journey. He told me that if things go wrong, there's only one father. If things are successful, there are many fathers. So I'm not sure where the international partners are on this, but I really appreciate all the support. And some of you have been very consistent in the work that we've been doing. I do appreciate other government departments. They are around the table, including the presidency. We've been whining and dining you at our own cost, by the way, not the taxpayers, to try and get a sense of what's happening in the continent. So the questions that were mentioned earlier on, we do take them seriously, and hopefully the team that will take this work forward will continue to do that work. I have to thank my family, even though they are not here today. They will chop my head off if I don't say thank you to them for the time that I've taken away from them. And I just want to again say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very, very much, DG. Thank you and congratulations, a very well-deserved recognition. Now, if you'll allow me to just be a little bit of an activist here, I read the other day in the city, no, it was on Sunday in the City Press. They were talking about the signing of the Presidential Health Compact and some of the controversy that surrounds it. And at the end of the article, the author said, oh, wow, it's such a pity because now the Presidential Health Compact is going to be delayed, the implementation is going to be delayed because they have to engage these issues. It's not going to be delayed. In fact, right now, as we sit, as the minister is here, getting the VIMs handed over to him, we are busy implementing the Presidential Health Compact, and we have been implementing the Presidential Health Compact since last year when the summit ended. And I just want to say that there's nothing that's going to stop us from implementing health system strengthening in this country and from implementing what is required of us by law, which is the national health insurance, which is the law of this land at the moment. And until the courts make a determination, and if they decide that this is no longer the case, we will be implementing health system strengthening and the national health insurance. And we are right here busy doing that under the auspices of Pillar 10. So with that being said, I would like to invite Dr. Ntantla Msomi onto the stage. And Dr. Msomi, have I got something wrong? Because you're going to hand over the VIMS to the minister, and then the minister is going to then give us his keynote address. So I'm going to invite you on stage, and you will invite your team. And while you do so, I'm going to take the opportunity, while the team is coming up, I'm going to take the opportunity to then read the Honourable Minister's bio. No bio. All right.
Thank you, MC. Are you an MC? Okay. I'd like to invite the team that compiled VIMS. I believe a quarter of them are here. Sitting at that table and another table, Professor George. So VIMS was an interesting project. And I'm quite glad that DG Mchwaha is not the only one who believes in gender equity, as you can see. But VIMS had about 60, 70 people, stretching all the way from health economists, innovation strategy, or as well as scientists, making different contributions. Like every strategy, it changed with the changing dynamic, and we always had to change course. And I think Professor Swartz should be here, though he fancies himself as a boss, because he was the guy that cracked the whip on all of us with the DG. And I think this represents a mammoth achievement, Minister. A lot of the work that's in this box, believe me, it's not an empty box. A lot of the work that's in this box is primary research. We generated data for the very first time, including some of the economic data, some of the social science data, strategies. We were going back and forth. What does architectural innovation mean? What does component innovation mean? How do you contextualize it within the developing country context? And arriving at the value chains. And that's why we arrived at the determination that health security has to start from innovation. And I hope some of the staff that's here and acting DG Dan and ourselves have agreed that we will enter into a process to hand over these volumes of data that started one silly Christmas Eve in 2020. This is the work from the Christmas Eve of 2020 up until now. So it's volumes of data. And I'd like to request the minister's presence to receive the body of knowledge. Apologies to my colleagues. I'm not going to introduce all of them. Some of them asked me to introduce them. Huh?
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh.
Okay. We'll just take a moment to do a photo op, and then the minister will deliver his address.
Okay. All right. Go best at I'm calling it pet.
Thank you very much. I now invite the Honourable Minister to deliver his address. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I'm sorry, I know you meant it honestly when you said you wanted to do my bio. I said no, it's not Nzimande's bio today, it's Bio Africa. Thank you very much. Just a few words, honestly. I have already spoken this morning. I just want to start by thanking Dr. Msomi most profoundly and the team. It's good to always know, to always see these living human beings, you know, that after all, Dr. Msomi was not on his own. He always used to say it, you know, but we couldn't quite believe him because he's got all this knowledge and saying all these things. Thank you very much to Dr. Msomi and the team. I think you deserve a huge round of applause, actually. Then let me thank our DG, our former DG, Ambassador Mjwaha now, for having been party to this, supported Bio Africa and all that. Dr. Mjwaha now is going to be our ambassador extraordinaire in Paris at UNESCO. It's the first full-time ambassador for UNESCO from South Africa. So he has always been talking about science diplomacy. Now he's the chief science diplomat for our country. Thank you very much, Dr. Mjwaha. We must thank you for the work that you have done. You are right. No DG survives 18 years that I know of. I think you possibly just about the only DG, which shows your caliber and commitment. I really want to thank you for that. Also, thanks to you, Dan, because I know in your international work, you always carried this message of Bio-Africa and what we are trying to do here. I also want to thank Dr. Swartz. You are right, by the way, by thanking Dr. Swartz, because he's so modest. He's sitting there innocently as if he has had absolutely nothing to do with this. He really played a big role in this project and program. But also part of his role was that he was like the direct link between myself and the project from my office directly. So thank you very much, Dr. Swartz. He disowned himself being a professor because he said he's no longer professing. We've known him as Professor Swartz. To some of us, he still remains Professor Swartz because he's a very substantial person when it comes to all these things. He has learned in this area. We are social scientists, the two of us, but he embarrasses me now, you know. I mean, he talks these big words now, you know. Natural sciences, he now just gobbles. When he goes into exclusive books, he just gobbles up these books about science, even when we are abroad traveling together and all that. Thank you very much, Prue. I need to appreciate that. Now, this is the end of the first phase. And we are now going to begin the second phase. I'm sorry, by the way, I didn't do the recognitions. I just want to say all protocol observed. The only person I know who joined us later was Professor Karim and my VC here of University of KwaZulu-Natal. Otherwise, I recognize all of you who are here, and we are playing a very important role, as well as Dumi, the chair of Bio-Africa. We've been doing very well, Boitumelo, for guiding the ship, you know, and all that. I'm really very excited about this. Apart from the fact that technology is so advanced, you know, this box is like there's nothing in it. It's so light, you know. Now it takes me back to the days of WordPerfect 4.2. with 2 discs, the program disc and then the disc you used for your copies. And printing that stuff, into stacks and stacks and stacks of paper. There's lots of information here, but it feels like there is nothing. I really appreciate that. I don't want to take your time. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Nawe osiphathele uhlelo sisi. Thank you very much. And all of you who are here. I'm sorry that I had to leave before I could listen to the responses in the previous session. But if you are a minister, we are not in charge of yourself. They are your bosses. They said, go and do the media now. That's why I left. It wasn't out of disinterest because I was quite keen to hear what were going to be some of those responses. Please enjoy yourself. Please be part of this VIMS project in your different ways that you can, because this is a big project. By the way, I do need to, who was talking about the date? Stavros. It was 24th of December, actually, when the president called me, 2020. Middle of the day. I was in my shorts. I was in the car, I was going somewhere. It was a hot day. I was in my own time in Maritzburg. He says, usually when you get a call from a president at an awkward time, the first thing we are thinking about is that, gee whiz, what have I done now? Because I'm likely to be fired. He said, pull your scientists together. I want to address them at the beginning of 2021. But when I address them, please come ready to tell me, how can we actually develop COVID-19 and other vaccines here locally in South Africa? Because I've got confidence in our scientists that they can actually do this. So this is the product today of the end of this phase 1 of laying a very important foundation to produce vaccines, not only for South Africa, for the continent, and hopefully also for the South in particular. But also, I don't want to limit ourselves there. Why can't we produce vaccines for the North as well? To show that we've got knowledge actually that is global in its reach, given the kind of scientists that we have in South Africa and in the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister. And as you said, with all protocol observed, once the minister has spoken, no one else speaks. So with that, enjoy your lunch. And I really wish you all a successful conference as we go forward. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So just from a logistics perspective, a reminder again that once we've had lunch, if we can eat, hopefully in the next 15 minutes, we are chasing time. We're going to have 3 sessions. We'll have one in the plenary on One Health and R&D, and that will be chaired by Dr. Blessed Okole. We then have the second breakaway in 11AB, just outside of here, on fill and finish to end-to-end research and manufacturing, chaired by Dr. Godfrey Gele. And then the third one on procurement, 11CD, chaired by Dr. Ian Barton. So colleagues, if we can try to be seated there by 14:20. If we can just have the main course served, please. Thank you.